Hello, hello. It is I, Jihei. Every time I load up stream with the model updates, my mind is blown. Look at that! Look at that hair swoosh. That is much upgraded hair swoosh. I'd say it's becoming more like GHRL, but my hair's not red anymore. So I'm now a faker. I'm now just like all the other VTubers. I'm also way fatter than I used to be, so I don't. Do you know what? We're gonna fix that, man. I'm gonna be G hair again. Say hello to the cat, everyone. We got a little buddy. We got a little buddy today. The other buddy is grumping up, so I don't think he'll join us. But this little girlie, she likes the attention. Yes, it is Sola. Just a reminder to everyone, I know it's a bit of a shameless plug, but that if you do want to support me in keeping my cats, you can donate over at my donation links that you can find in my About section. Please. I've put more information in my About section. I hope it's kind of useful to you guys. I apologize if it's not. Every time I try and add things and be like a real VTuber, I get very mixed feedback. I don't know what you guys want from me. I'm just trying to be a little bean. I'm just trying to do my best. And be mega hot while I do it. Seriously though, this hair swoosh is unreal. I'm like, hang on, we're just going to swoosh a little bit. Sorry guys, we're going to get into the league, I promise. But for now, swoosh it. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. For those of you who don't get to watch all of this and like to come back to it as a VOD, I am timestamping the VODs now. And I've timestamped all the old ones too, so you can easily go back and check out just the sections you want to. I also will be, of course, recording as clean as I can copies of the audios. But hopefully I'll have an even better sound environment soon to do that. For now, we're going to have a bit of a chill time with a new champion, a fellow redhead. But she's more of a ginge, she's a ginger. It is Zoe. Now, I've mentioned to you the wonderful Glitched Astral just before stream that I actually know limited amount about Zoe, to be honest. So we'll see how this goes. It might not go great. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I feel like what I know about her so far has not inspired me, shall we say. I don't feel inspired by it. Let me just set up my audios for the next step. Beautiful. Okay, we should be able to hear Astral now. Hello, Astral.
Hello, hello. I am here.
Yes, okay, we can hear the Glitched Astral. He's going to be here just to pop in his thoughts as we go through.
Yes.
He will jump in when something interesting needs adding that he thinks that Riot have not made clear. Also, I do want to clarify, someone asked about this. I know there is more to the lore than the universe website stuff. I'm well aware that there is in-game revelations to the lore. There are the TV shows to explore, but I physically can't do all of that in one stream. So these streams are focusing on kind of the written online lore. We're not going to do the alternative comics and stuff. We're going to do those separately. So the Star Guardian comics and stuff we'll do separately at some point. And we will do talking about stuff that's been revealed in game and things. But once we're a bit deeper into Clown Fiesta and everyone has a bit more background, because some of my viewers are not League fans. They don't know anything. They know even less than me about League. So yeah, it's important. It's important. And I've been like trying to get the glitched one here into Age of Sigmar Warhammer lore.
Yes.
And I want to start doing some streams talking about the Discworld and Terry Pratchett's books as well. So This isn't really what I'm saying is this isn't so much about League as about fantasy stories in general and how much I love them. And League just seemed like the logical first choice because I was trying to catch up on reading all the lore that I didn't know because I only knew the lore of a handful of champions. So, and we were talking about Zyra and Rakan earlier actually, because I know a little bit about their lore, and from what I know of their lore, and from what I know of their interactions in games and everything like that. It's very weird how people talk about Zyra and Rakan. That is not goals, guys. Get yourself healthy relationships with boundaries. Don't be like me. Don't be codependent and a hot mess, okay? You go out there, you do better for yourself. Oh my god. I love that in my new model you can even see the earrings clearly now. Look at that. Oh my god. Perfection. One moment, guys. Okay, I just shouted at the wrong cat. Whoops.
Oh no.
It's Remy, but he's doing Solar things. It's deeply suspicious. Why is he acting like you, Solar? What did you do? Did you recruit him to your cause so that you could look innocent? That's mean. You know he's stupid and he'll do what you ask. So, without further ado, and you might think, gee, hey, have you just been wasting time? And the answer is yes. Because Zoe does not have a lot on her lore plate. And when I was pointing this out, Astral mentioned something about Star Guardian, and I was like, oh, cool, so Star Guardian's a big thing. And he was like, no.
Yeah, just I'm not on board with this.
So it seems like Riot made a champion they didn't like from day one, which is pretty hilarious. And I'm also snacking today. Sorry, guys, this is a real chill edition. I got a biscuit. Because I didn't eat dinner, chat, which was a mistake. I was going to be all heroic and be like, I don't need dinner. I'm going to lose weight even faster by not eating it. And now I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat snacks and get fat. Okay. So Zoe is the aspect of Twilight. Now, bear with me, chat. I want to paint you a word picture. Okay? We have Leona, who is currently housing the aspect of Sun, right? The solar aspect. You know, the bringer of life, the giver of all life on Earth. Yeah? Yeah? That's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool, pretty powerful, pretty awesome, pretty kick-ass. Then we've got Diana. Diana is channeling the aspect of the moon, of darkness, of night, right? Oh, the mystery, the excitement. Oh, it's so good. It's beautiful. We love that for us. Oh my goodness. Good job. Good job. Okay. But hear me out, chat. This is where it all goes a bit wrong. Zoe is somehow either is the or is connected to the aspect of, we're not sure what time of day it is. Is it day? Is it night? And before stream, I was trying to think of a lot of ways to try and hype myself up for that, because honestly, that sounds kind of lame, right? So I was like, how am I going to get myself hype and like positive about Zoe's story? And I've gone with boundaries and change. So those of you who are deep into your fantasy lore will know that there is places and times in our universe where the boundaries between reality and magic become thin. And a lot of fantasy lore is based on superstitions relating to that one moment. Superstitions relating to that are to do with edges of things. So like windows, people being really weird about windows because windows are a place where one thing changes to another and the gap between reality and magic gets thin. And so basically any time where something changes to another, so New Year's, Twilight. So I've decided I can be on board with this because Twilight is a known time a known time when the boundaries between reality and magic grow thin. And that's what we're going with, chat, to make ourselves hype about this, okay? That's what we're going with. Because I was not hype about it. I also don't really like Zoe's character design. It looks kind of weird, right? And don't even get me started on this. She's a kid, but she's like 1,500 years old. Yeah, I don't do that. Come on, sort yourself out.
Disproportionate.
Yeah, because we all know why they're really doing it, and it's got nothing to do with cool fantasy lore reasons. Okay. I bring a message for you all. A warning. A sigil. But first, I want to see the sparkleflies. Zoe. Okay. I'm getting hedonistic vibes, and I want to like it because, you know, that's kind of what I'm like. But I feel like she's going to be the annoying kind. But we'll see. We'll see. She might be a lovable puck type character, and that's okay. As the embodiment of mischief, imagination, and change, Zoe acts as the cosmic messenger of Targon, heralding a major events that reshape worlds. Oh, cool! They are leaning into the fantasy lore about points of change. Hey! Okay, that's quite cool. Her mere presence warps the arcane mathematics governing realities, sometimes causing cataclysms without conscious effort or malice. This perhaps explains the breezy nonchalance in which Zoe approaches her duties, giving her plenty of time to focus on playing games, tricking mortals, or otherwise amusing herself. An encounter with Zoe can be joyous and life-affirming, but it is always more than it appears and often extremely dangerous. Okay, no, I'm pleased. They are leaning into the whole superstitions about change. Places and times where change happens. That's kind of cool. This last sentence, though. You and me both. An encounter with Jihei can be joyous and life-affirming, but it is always more than it appears and often extremely dangerous. We're putting that on the socials immediately after this, guys. Someone remind me.
I will take note of that one.
As you can see, there's some related champions. This is all going to be to do with Targon. You can go and check out the beginning of my Diana stream if you want to know a bit more about the region of Targon. Please remember as well, there's a really cool interactive map on the League website. I have to say, the Universe website actually does have some really cool stuff. It's just that a lot of the links are a bit dodgy, but it's worth it. It's worth it because there is actually a decent amount of cool stuff here. But you will see that the rest of Zoe's page is very sparse. It is literally just that and that. Yikes, forever. Wait, why am I making the noise when I have... Yes, I forgot. I need to use these more. I need to use these to react to leak because I have so many that would be good for reacting to leak. Like when I'm angry, right? When there's a character who's annoyed me. When someone does something that I think's a bit pretentious. I don't even know what this one is. I'm going to press it now and I'm going to find out, and I'm going to hope that it isn't something that we should worry about. It's an Invader Zim one. Okay, we got lost. We need to use these. Chat, I will be a better streamer one day. I promise. That day will not be today. Okay, get into the stories. Zoe. The aspect. What? No comment. Let's move on. Zoe, the aspect of Twilight. Not to be Twilight the time of day, by the way. Not to be confused with Twilight the sparkly vampires. Just clarifying. As befits her Targonian aspect's nature, Zoe did not come to the attention of the celestial realm in any traditional way. She didn't win a great victory against overwhelming odds, or sacrifice herself for a noble ideal, or overcome the existential trial of climbing Mount Targon. Instead, Zoe was a normal girl, seemingly chosen at random from among the Rakor. Her teachers reported Zoe to be an imaginative child, but willful, lazy, mischievous, and easily distracted. One day, as she skipped away from her studies of the holy text to pursue something less boring, she was noticed by the Aspect of Twilight. It observed as the young girl playfully mocked the angry cries of the scholarly priest chasing her through the village. Then, after an hour-long pursuit, she found herself cornered against the sheer drop of a cliff's edge. Before Zoe's teachers could grab her, the Aspect summoned 6 objects in front of her: a bag of gold coins, a sword, a completed study book, a devotion rug, a silk rope, and a toy ball. 5 of these items could have let her flee or otherwise diffuse the situation. Zoe chose the 6th option. Unconcerned with escape or forgiveness, she instead grabbed the toy ball, kicked it toward the wall of a nearby house, and sang gleefully as it ricocheted among the humorless priests. The Aspect hadn't seen such joyful irreverence in the face of peril since its last host, who heralded the end of the Great Darkin War. Delighted by Zoe's carefree exuberance, it opened a shimmering portal to the apex of Mount Targon, offering the girl a chance to see the universe. She dived backward into the portal, instantly merging with the Aspect, then stuck her tongue out at her dumbfounded teachers as she disappeared. The transcendence was unique. In fact, it was unheard of in all myths and legends of Targon. Yet Zoe did not trouble herself with why the rules that govern Aspects had been changed just for her. She didn't trouble herself with rules at all. Instead, she journeyed to dimensions of reality at the very edge of mortal comprehension, playing with powers seen by few before or since. While for Zoe, barely a year had passed, she returned home after what had apparently been many centuries in Runeterra. Full of teenage curiosity, she wondered what she had missed while she was away. Fortunately, she could traverse the streams of time with only a thought. Among the events she witnessed were the rise and fall of the big armored meanie, Mordekaiser, the destruction of the Blessed Isles in the spooky ghost party, the cataclysms of the War for Sparkly Rocks, and the founding of a dour new nation near the No Fun Forest. One thing in particular became clear to Zoe. She was not alone. Walking the mortal world were other Aspects, in fact, more than ever before. More friends for her to meet. But they brushed her aside time and time again, seeming rather preoccupied with whatever it was they were doing in the spaces between realms. Intrigued, Zoe traveled to the stars, where she found the great cosmic dragon, Aurelian Sol. Hey, it's our boy Aurelian! Although he clearly despised her, as he did all of her kind, Zoe always returned to the dragon's side, trying to discover what aggrieved him. From his bombastic and self-aggrandizing diatribes, she gleaned that her fellow Aspects had humiliated him, crowning him with a cursed artifact to siphon away his power. Zoe felt sorry for this poor space doggy and vowed to do what she could to protect him. For his part, Aurelian Sol has at least stopped threatening to destroy her when he eventually takes his long overdue vengeance. Whether Zoe's curious relationship with the Starforger is due to a mere whim, possessiveness, or her function as a cosmic disruptor, no one can be certain. For the scholars and mystics of Mount Targon, the emergence of an aspect is usually a joyous occasion. But Zoe's unpredictability gives them pause, as not even she knows what her presence could portend. The only certainty is that Runeterra is on the brink of a profound transformation, one that may come at the cost of chaos, destruction, and blood. Okay. Firstly, Zoe is a manic pixie dream girl. I mean, a burgeoning one. She's still a bit on the young side for a full-fledged one, but that is the character archetype she is, which makes her intensely annoying. Secondly, I actually feel sorry for her. I feel like Riot knew they wanted a champion that filled this quirky girl kind of character, but they didn't really know how they were going to write one into the lore. And so they came up with kind of a very basic story, but because no one had any, and because this character isn't very interesting, they hadn't got a really fleshed out character, it's ended up being quite short and uninteresting. I genuinely think I could spice up Zoe's lore myself, and I am far from a professional.
You want to know one thing about Zoe that made her at least quote unquote popular on release?
Yeah.
They gave her a Disney-like flow for her animations. Everything from the theme song to like how her abilities feel when you cast them. Yeah, it's just a goofy ass kid who's been possessed by the aspect of I don't know what time of day it is.
But I'm not sure how a Disney-like flow would work, making her popular with League of Legends fans. I can't imagine there's a lot of overlap between League of Legends fan and Disney adults.
Oh, and I forgot to add one thing.
Mm.
If Zoe ever decides that she has enough of everyone's BS, she can destroy the entire Runeterra in one snap.
Okay, but that could be an interesting character. If you took the quirky manic pixie dream girl archetype, right? And then gave them, which is what they've done, and then you give them actually a huge amount of power. Like world ending, universe ending amount of power, right?
Yes.
The reason that's funny and gives you a lot to play with is that is the one of the few character archetypes that would have zero interest in using that power. Like their only reason to use that power would be curiosity. Like there's no like motivation as such, you know? Like no greater plan because they're such hedonists. So the only risk to them using that power would be like if they got bored one day and just thought they'd use it to see what it does. That's actually something you could really play with. The fact that there's this intense amount of power being wielded by someone who actually has no interest in having an intense amount of power. Doesn't give a monkeys. Is actually something you could make interesting. But I feel like because the character wasn't made with the thought of how to make them interesting, it's kind of led to this. Also, I mentioned this with the Diana story. And I think I asked if Riot was staffed by a heavily male staff at the time. Because any story that involves a teenage girl in the League lore feels like it was written by someone who's never even met a teenage girl. Because they describe her as a teenager in the story, right? They literally say she's a teenager. But the behavior they describe is the behavior of like a 6, 7, 8-year-old.
I don't know, dude. That sounds kind of disturbing.
No, it's not disturbing. It's just these guys, the people writing this don't seem to remember. Either they're women who don't remember being a teenage girl, I mean, but no, even men have been around teenage girls, right? Like you were a teenage boy once with female friends, or you have children or nephews. It's just weird because I thought it was a one-off thing with the Diana story, right? Where it was written like someone had described a teenage girl to someone and then they'd written a story about them. But now I'm starting to think that just Riot don't know how to write teenage girls. But they keep making teenage girl characters. Riot, if you are listening, hire me. And I will help you write teenage girls. I'll do it. Okay, thanks, bye.
Application letter done. That's it.
Like it's not that I'm angry at the Zoe character. I can't really comment much about her lore because there's nothing there. She was a mischievous child.
Yeah,
She got a bunch of power. She remained mischievous. Tee-hee, she's quirky. Job done. Okay. Bear in mind, we just read all the Pantheon stuff, which is, while I didn't like the female character in the final story, the stuff is so deeply written, woven with emotion. And then we get Zoe, it's tee-hee, teenage girl bad. Tee-hee, teenage girl powerful. Tee-hee. It's like, okay, but where's the meat and bones? Where is it? Right, give us the content. Give us the content. I don't know that invested because I'm unlikely to ever play Zoe. I'm unlikely to ever be invested in her, but you know, if you're a Zoe main, justice for your lore. That's what I'm saying. There's butterflies. I like butterflies. Butterfly, Buddha, spider. Okay. Deep breaths. We have another story. But again, look, it's not super long. The color stories are normally crazy long, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's longer than it looks. Okay. The story is super imaginatively called Meet Zoe. The moment she thought of the cake store, Zoe dove into the air, surrendering herself to gravity. While falling, she reached out with her consciousness to form a gateway. Instantly, a portal opened beneath her and connected to the other place. She fell into the gate. Her mass collided and imploded as she traveled. It kind of tickles. Unfortunately, Zoe did not appear at her intended destination. Instead, she emerged for a second portal only a dozen strides away, propelled through the air by the momentum of her previous fall. Then, after a brief moment of equilibrium, she was pulled back into the second portal. Again, time and space twisted around her, all swooshy-like, as she would describe it, before flopping her back at the starting point. Both portals then folded into space and disappeared. A powerful magic was distorting Zoe's ability to travel. It probably related to whatever change she was supposed to herald, and obviously she hadn't succeeded yet. It was a problem, but not an unfamiliar one. She wasn't really sure what the message was, who it was for, or even what it meant. But in her experience, those details rarely mattered. The holy mathematics wanted to advance, and the messages generally fell into place shortly after she arrived. Zoe felt that was a pretty cool advantage of being an aspect. Of course, there was now the question of what to do while she waited. Zoe glanced around. Beside a nearby tree, she spotted a small, fuzzy creature with a huge tail. It looked similar to a tiny yordle, though Zoe noted how this creature's connection to the spirit world was comparatively minuscule. The small animal's life pattern flashed in Zoe's brain. It would live only a dozen rotations before returning its spirit. To her, the brevity of its life made it more adorable. Zoe jumped up and ran towards it. So cute! The tiny animal scrambled up the tree away from her. Hey, come back, she pouted. Without slowing her pursuit, Zoe created a time bubble, turning it only half a planet's rotation before launching it at the tree. The anomaly bounced before bursting against the tree's trunk. For a second, the cute animal's past merged with the present. The night sky overtook the area, and the twilight butterflies pulsed around it. The small creature fell into the tired, restful sleep of the previous evening, as its past spiritual and mental state overwhelmed its current consciousness. Zoe ignored gravity for a moment. Sorry, it's a good line, but I was just thinking, I wish I could just ignore gravity. Yeah, I'm over it. Floated up into the branches and came to a stop beside the tiny animal. Her hand hesitated above its downy fur. She knew the moment she touched the creature, her spell would break. Zoe is a friend, she whispered. But when she caressed the tiny animal's head, it burst awake and dove away from her in a panic. With a disappointed moan, Zoe floated a bit higher than before, flipping upside down. She considered visiting Aurelian Sol after she finished here. The dragon didn't like being petted either, but, she thought, he was easier to catch without harming. This notion vanished as, thanks to her new altitude, Zoe saw past the hills and spotted a village on the horizon. She willed a portal to the town into existence and dove into it. But again, Zoe was only able to create a gate to a few yards away. Worst, it collapsed upon itself as before and pulled her back to her starting point. The summer grass did seem inviting, so with no better option, she walked through the forest to the village. She arrived at the outskirts of the walled town as the sun began to set. Hearing laughter, she dismissed gravity for a second and floated up to one of the village's rooftops. In the center courtyard, a half-dozen mortals were playing. They were almost exactly Zoe's size, unlike the children or adults she had encountered more recently in her tour of the planet. One of the males chased a female around in a circle. Both were laughing. The rules of the game were unclear. Zoe focused on the girl's beautiful red dress, wondering if the coloration represented something. Even if it wasn't a part of the game, Zoe liked it. The girl seemed taller than the other females, and Zoe felt the girl might know things she needed to learn. Okay, I'm sorry, what? This is so weirdly written. I think because she's like an immortal aspect, they've tried to give her like a detached kind of feeling, but it's just coming off like, what? What? The girl seemed taller than the other females, and Zoe felt the guy. No, I'm sorry. Riot. You need me. Okay? You need me. The male was also interesting, but in a completely different way. She could tell his current incarnation would be short-lived, but Zoe suspected it would be amazing if he chased her. There was something wonderful about his chin and the shape of his lips. She swallowed nervously. It had, after all, been a very long time since Zoe was a mortal or had even visited this realm. She was strangely worried the group wouldn't accept her, and she would be left out of whatever they were playing. Two of the other boys, decidedly less interesting ones, began kicking a ball between themselves. This game, Zoe remembered. Emboldened by this connection, Zoe swooped down from the rooftop to the middle of the group. "Hi," she said, while turning the base of her hair into a color that mimicked the tall female's dress. "A spirit," the interesting boy said with wide eyes. Then he screamed, "Run!" Zoe felt she should point out She was an aspect rather than a spirit, but she was uncertain if his cry was part of the other game's rules. Actually, I'm here with a message, but if you wanted to play, I have plenty of time, she said as she launched after them. Then she flew, as casually as she could, alongside the tall girl. Your red outfit is so cool. Does the color mean something? Zoe asked, but an attempt at starting a conversation hardly mattered. As she spoke, the tall girl was pulled into a house by the interesting boy. He then slammed the heavy wooden door shut, blocking Zoe's path. Zoe glanced around, discovering the other mortals had similarly disappeared, but a commotion could be heard coming from a keep near the center of the town. After a moment, a dozen men in armor came running towards Zoe with spears. They reminded her of Pantheon's weapon. Local guardians, she surmised. Assuming she was a spirit, they screamed warnings, while their leader attempted a banishing spell. It was a very good spell, in Zoe's opinion, but not one she wanted. She wondered if, perhaps, spirits frequently plagued the town. When the men began throwing their weapons at Zoe, she manifested an arcane meteor and sent it on a flight path around the keep. Then, the Twilight Girl created a pair of portals to dodge the Guardian spears before finally redirecting the shooting star at her attackers. The meteor's impact created an implosion, causing a chain reaction with the small particles it had gathered while flying, which resulted in a secondary explosion that thundered through the guards and their tower, annihilating the area into fine dust. "Hello?" Zoe asked as the clouds of destruction whirled around her. She wondered if the tall girl or the interesting boy had run away. It seemed likely. Momentarily dispirited, Zoe decided to visit a larger mortal settlement next. It seemed like someone might be willing to play with her at that sort of location. Zoe remembered where a city had been a few thousand years ago. On instinct, and despite her previous failures, she willed a portal to it, and she was pleasantly surprised when a gateway opened to her intended destination. "Oh, cool," she said, happy to be able to travel again and eager to deliver her next message. As Zoe stepped out of reality, she wondered if the new crater would lead some mortals to find the world rune that was nearby. The tall girl, or that interesting boy might even be the ones to discover it. It would probably be funny if they did, she decided. Okay. So they did it again. The potential for this is high. And it's not a really long story. This is really short compared to some of the color stories. So they could have taken this story somewhere interesting. But they've literally written all of this just to say she tried to play with some kids. It didn't end well. She blew up the town.
Yep.
And then all of the actual interesting stuff, they've just quickly sandwiched in as a imagine what happens at the end there, guys. It's just... This is like a writing prompt. This is not a story. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to whoever wrote this. I apologize to the writer of this, but this is not a story. This is a writing prompt for someone to write the story. This is a chapter in a full story. This is not an isolated standalone story. I'm actually quite annoyed. I think this is the first champion I've read where I've been this annoyed at the writing. Up until now, I think my only comments on the writing in that way have been kind of giggly about the word choices. Like how needlessly dramatic they are. But this is offensive. This is offensive to writers. Like, this is something you give as like the setting for a prompt and then you tell someone to go write a story about Zoe. Which this is what a biography should be. Is a setting for a story. She's got 2 biographies. I'm actually really annoyed. I would have loved there to have been a good Zoe story. The character has potential. This is not it, Riot. Make this your priority when you're reworking things, please. Fix it. Oh, chat, I'm mad. Okay. Should we watch her cinematic, everyone? Shall we? Shall we? Okay. Let's just check we have sound quickly. Huh. Sound is not working, is it? Try now. Yes. Okay. I'm so annoyed. Is this? I think this is my first being this annoyed by not the character, but by being this annoyed by the writing. Whoa. Not a good start, right? Okay, this is a cinematic that features Zoe, because she's so memorable. I forgot her name. Because she doesn't have a solo cinematic. There's no like super cool cinematics. Apparently this is it if you want a Zoe cinematic. This is based on Astral's words. So if I'm wrong, it's not my fault, right? What's up, Billy? Do you... Oh, I think Astral's lurking. Ah. I'm curious if she shows up at all in any of the other Star Guardian cinematics. Did we just watch them? Let's take a look at some other Star Guardian stuff. We got time. Let's just see if she's there, man. Let's see if she's there. Years ago. That's crazy. I love this whole thing, this whole concept of we want to make magical girls, so let's just make a magical girl alternate universe. I will say this, all the Star Guardian stuff is super pretty.
Not until you get to season 2 then.
Something happened season 2?
Oh, I think you're just not gonna like the design of Star Guardian Ezreal.
Star Guardian Israel, why not?
The only thing I love about this season of Star Guardian is the Porter Robinson.
I have no idea who Porter Robinson is.
That I'm happy as we pass the setting sun. Someday I'll be overcast, but you won't have to cry, 'cause we'll do the grieving. Well, I'm by your side. I said, don't try to make yourself remember, darling.
That is not even very unique transformation sequence. That's a bit sad.
And I'm so scared of getting used to this. All the vines that keep you tethered in your room.
Oh my god, the Zyra Khan fans must have been insufferable in this era of League.
Don't apologize. I told you to forget me, but you
Didn't say they weren't insufferable at other points.
Everything goes on.
Wait. I just need to clarify here. Did they like alternate universe their already alternate universe story?
Yes, they did.
Sorry,
They
that's
did.
kind of funny. Oh, wait. They did a Korean. Wow.
Yep, they wanted to make sure that they covered at least every single like popular server. So no one gets left out.
This is Changha. She's amazing. Hmm.
Is she a solo artist?
Yes, she is a solo artist.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, they really went all out, didn't they, with that year?
Yeah.
You can't take the pressure. Everyone
I recall that this Marvel Star Guardians was like the most selling.
I don't know enough about Star Guardians yet, guys, to even be able to work out which champions are in the Star Guardian. I know some of them already, obviously, but... Wow, so you weren't really lying that the vast majority of Star Guardian stuff isn't even about the part that Zoe's in.
Yeah.
Wow. She's
Because
like a villain of the week for Star Guardians.
Oh shit.
That's wild. Zoe, man.
And I wasn't even lying when I said if they are going to come up with the villains of Star Guardian, it's only going to be Zaya, Rakan, Morgana, and Chicken. Zoe is just useless.
Yeah, because it looks like she's not a main storyline villain as such. She's like the classic magical girl story villain of the week villain. She's not the big bad.
I actually didn't get to finish the story for this one. Kind of want at least wanted to know what happened by there.
Okay, I feel like I might have to do like a Star Guardian special stream at some point and just talk about Star Guardians, because I do think it's kind of cool, the whole Star Guardian alternate universe. I know there's a Spirit Blossom universe to worry about as well, but I'm not so interested in that. But the Star Guardian one does seem pretty cool. But yeah, wow, you were not joking about how neglected Zoe is. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take my little ad break, guys. I'll be right back afterwards and we can talk about skins and the game.
I will also be right back. I just gotta go buy drinks.